Hi, it's Heather Glendenning. This is my digital book review. The book that I read was The Leadership Challenge, How to Make Extraordinary Things Happen in Organizations by James N. Coase and Barry Z. Posner. The first little quote that I have came from the introduction of the book, and I loved it. One of the greatest myths about leadership is that some people have it and some people don't. A corollary myth is that if you don't have it, then you can't learn it. Neither could be further from the empirical truth. Coase and Posner have been working on their practices of exemplary leadership since the early 1980s. This is the 6th edition of this book. So what I did, and of course my face is blocking some of it, but what I did is I took the 5 practices of leadership, put them here, broke them down into the headings and then some subheadings. So this is kind of an overview of the entire book. What I'm going to do from here on in is go in practice by practice. So this is the first practice. It's on modeled away, and 2 of the chapters under this practice are clarify issues, clarify values, and set the example. So the format of the slides once we get into the practice is going to be that I'm going to give you the heading, the subheading, a quick couple quote or quotes, and then at the bottom, the white questions, what I did is I took the practice or the quote that was meaningful to me and I directly applied it to literacy coaching. And I think in another class I said I sometimes think in questions. So this is how I would question myself on how these important ideas are going to go into my own personal literacy coaching, and these are some of the questions I could ask from there. So these quotes are on how to think critically, how to reason for yourself, how to find your own voice and what you stand for, and what you're going to lead people towards. So for me, what that means is, what is your educational philosophy? Is what you're being asked to coach match what you believe in? Does research match what you believe, or are you simply citing what you have read? So are you thinking critically about all the research that you're reading, and does it make sense in your day-to-day? The next part that was important was to set the example, live shared values. And this is about talking the talk and walking the walk. Do you practice what you preach? And the second part of the quote is on positivity and how our brains actually get ready to absorb more information if we're talked to in a positive manner, whereas if we're spoken to negatively, we kind of go into survival mode and things shut down and we're not taking in what we're hoping to achieve. So are you being seen in the building? That's a direct link to one of the articles that we read. Are you being seen? Do people know what your role is? Are you accomplishing your role? Do your reactions match your guidance? And what do the words you say about, what do the words that you use say about you and your role as a literacy leader? The next practice that the authors get into is about inspiring a shared vision. And this encompasses the next 2 chapters: envision the future, enlist others in a common vision. The author spoke at length and very highly about vision statements and how a vision statement can focus everyone in on the same goal, the same intent, the same outcome. So does your school or district have a vision statement? Should there be a vision or a mission statement for the initiative you're about to embark on in your literacy coaching? For me personally, the Reading School District does have a district level motto: one vision, all students, one Reading. And my building, Lowers Park, we got together about 18 years ago and create a vision statement for our building. And it's Flowers Park Elementary School, where children discover dreams and develop the skills to achieve them. And this vision statement is something that my principal pulls out time and time again and brings us back to the beginning. Are we inspiring kids? Are we giving them what they need to achieve what we've inspired them to do? The next, practice finding a common purpose and listening deeply to others. Once again, this directly relates back to many of the articles that we read about how to be a good listener and how to not always be reactionary with your answers, but to really let the other person express what they want to say. So do you really listen to the teachers you coach, or do you try to solve their problems for them? Are you listening to others in a leadership position in the school or in the district? Are you being a listener as well as reacting to someone who is listening? Enlisting others. And this is where we inspire others. We show our enthusiasm. Leaders must be able to inspire the people that they are showing the way to. So are you optimistic about the changes required from your coaching? Can you effectively convey this optimism, enthusiasm, and commitment? When I was coaching a newbie teacher, his discipline was not very good, and he was kind of afraid of the kids. And I said, fake it until you make it. You're in charge. Run the room. Just do what you can until you make it. And that's kind of what we have to do as coaches sometimes too. We have to, even if the district says this is what we're doing, we may have to fake the enthusiasm. Let's hope we don't have to, and we agree with what we're being asked to do. The next practice is challenge the process. You're going to search for opportunities, experiment, and take risks. And those are the titles of the next two chapters. Under seize the initiative, encourage initiative in others. I really like this part because it relates back to what I try to do with my own students and what our building tries to do with mastery learning. We're taking things one step at a time. We're bringing it down into consumable chunks. And then are you highlighting others that are succeeding? Do you have a role model that you can hold up to others and say, well, this is what this person was able to do, and here's the results they were able to get? So is your coaching focused, or are you asking the teachers to do too much at once? Are you providing opportunities for teachers to observe others who are successful at this skill or at this initiative? Under exercise outside, look outside of your experience, and this relates back to our readings once again. Lifelong learning, seeking your own professional development opportunities outside of what your district may be providing you. So the questions that I've generated: are you a lifelong learner? Are you promoting this quest for knowledge in others in your building? The next section is experiment and take risks, break it down and accentuate the process. You're going to focus on what you've been able to achieve, how far you've been able to come, not on the rest of the mountain that you have left to climb. That can be daunting. And we also want to step back and learn from our mistakes, to adopt that growth mindset, to understand what the mistakes have taught us, what we can learn from them, and how we can amend what we're doing from there. The next practice is enable others to act. This is where we're going to foster collaboration and strengthen others. Creating a climate of trust, central to almost every article, every thing we have read so far this year. But what I really like that these authors said is to make sure you demonstrate your trust in others before expecting them to trust you. I thought that was really significant, and I liked that. Do you have a trusting relationship with your teachers? What have you done to establish a trusting relationship with a resistant teacher? I have resistant teachers in my building, and I know I have not shown them levels of trust, so that's something I need to amend within myself. Facilitating relationships, support norms of reciprocity. So reciprocity equals trust is what these authors are showing, and that really means knowing you won't take advantage of others, take credit for their work, or put the majority of the work on them. But it also means standing up for yourself and knowing that you won't be walked on either. Oh, and The questions that I had at the bottom of there are your coaching relationships cooperative, or do you rely on the teacher to do most of the work? Does the teacher rely on you to do most of the work? The next set of quotes that I found interesting was under the develop competence and confidence section, educate and share information. Once again, professional development. Are you providing it? Are you seeking it? Are you bringing it in? So underneath I have, what professional development opportunities have you provided? What topics do your teachers still need training on? And how have the teachers responded to your trainings? Is this something you need to revisit? Is this something that you can move? And then under the develop competence and confidence section, coaching was described. It was directly mentioned, and it's very much in line with what we've been doing so far in this class. The authors talk about how it's in-house, on-site, real-time. It's practice instead of just training. It's taking that training, then putting it into practice and having coaching along the way. So did you reinforce your professional development by offering coaching opportunities? Have you given those coaching cycles enough time to show change? Oftentimes 1 or 2 cycles of the coaching process is not going to get it done. And the last practice is encourage the heart. And this is where we recognize contributions and celebrate values and victories. Under expect the best, be clear about the goals and the rules. I really like how they set apart what a goal is. A goal is something to celebrate that step-by-step mastery that you've been able to attain. Goals keep your objective and your vision statement very clear. Goals equal short-term challenges, short-term successes, while values are something for the long haul, for that long term. I really liked how they kind of define the values versus the goals, and the goals being so chunkable and in little units. Under create a spirit of community, celebrate the accomplishments you've achieved in public. And this is really the inevitable step of staying positive with the people you're working with, staying positive as a leader. So we can ask ourselves, how can we come together as a community and celebrate accomplishments? How can you share the accomplishments of one teacher with an entire building? So what I'm good, these, once again, these are the practices. This is kind of the framework of the book, and I just pulled out quotes that I felt were very meaningful, very important, or linked directly to what we're learning about. Quote was one of my favorite in the entire book. The study of leadership is the study of how men and women guide others through adversity, uncertainty, and other significant challenges. It's the study of people who triumph against overwhelming odds, who take initiative when there is inertia, who confront the established order, who mobilize individuals and institutions in the face of still resistance. I just love that quote. I thought, oh my gosh, that's us. We are trying to make these changes against some institutions that are stagnant, but others who are ready for the challenge. And I just really, that quote really spoke to me, and I think kind of summed up the spirit of. So here's the bibliographic information. And really, in conclusion, I just want to say that when I first started this book, the first couple introductory paragraphs before they get into the 5 practices, I was a little frustrated with it. It was a lot of corporate speak, a lot of step up to the plate, synergy. And I was afraid I was going to have to really muddle through some of that corporate speak. But once the authors got into the sections where they talk directly about those 5 practices for exceptional leadership, the real world applications that the authors were able to put out, the suggestions that they gave were more relevant than I could have ever imagined. A lot of the things that are in this book I have already been able to take to my day-to-day job, and there's others that I am planning on doing. And I'm kind of bringing the rest of our leadership team along that path with me. So I really liked this book much more than I thought I would, and it is an excellent place to start on how to become a good leader. So that's my book review. Thank you very much.